Hello there, my friends. Greetings to you. My name is Saeed. I am an online English language teacher, and this is another video episode from the series of lessons devoted to the vocabulary for the IELTS speaking section. And the topic of today's session will be food. All right. So actually, we talk about the lesson itself. It's the lesson number 15. So we are gradually approaching the end of our series. And the topic of food actually often comes up in the real IELTS speaking exam. So for example, the examiner may ask you some questions about your eating habits, like what you like to eat. Maybe he or she may ask you about your favorite cafe or restaurant, or maybe something about a popular dish in your country that just like people in general like to eat. So of course, please keep an eye on the expressions that are highlighted in the orangey yellowy color, because those ones will be the gist, the essence of the lesson, and you're gonna need to learn them ASAP to, enlighten the examiner with the light of your vocabulary. All right, so let's go to the speaking part 1. There we are, part 1 style questions. Question number 1. Do you like to cook? Mandy, the female's name, she's giving her response. Not really, no. Most of the time I eat ready meals and takeaways. That's one of the reasons I love visiting my mom. You can always guarantee lovely home-cooked food. All right, I understood. Okay, question number 2. What time do you usually eat dinner? Michelle, that's another female's name, she gives the answer. We have our main meal at around 7 o'clock. I'm usually starving hungry by then. In fact, I often grab a bite to eat as soon as I get home from college. A sandwich perhaps, but not too much to spoil my appetite. Michelle, good for you. Happy to see that you are so wise. And the final question. Are there any types of food you don't like? Oh my goodness, if this question had been asked on my IELTS session, I would probably have given a whole speech about this. But we have Lionel, who is not a fussy eater like me, so he has a small answer. No, not really. I'm not a fussy eater, like Said Mahmoudov. Actually, I eat like a horse. I do a lot of sport and work up quite an appetite. Good for you, Lionel. Good job. Well, it looks like we're done with the speaking part 1, and now it's a high time to check out the cue card from the speaking part 2. Okay? So here we are, the cue card. Describe a restaurant that you like to visit. You should say where this restaurant is, what kind of food it serves, how often you go there, and say why you like eating there so much. Now, my friends, I advise you to pause the video right now and to allocate yourself some 60 seconds of time to sort out and write out any ideas or thoughts that may come to your head in relation to this topic. And additionally to that, approximately 90 or 120 seconds, like 2 minutes of time to act the real answer to this question. Try to pertain to be a test taker, imagining yourself in the very test room, talking to an examiner in real life, or in case if we still have pandemics around and you guys are watching my videos in the time of this crazy deadly virus, maybe you would have the conversation with the examiner by means of the online connection, so you can just use the headphones and talk to the web camera in that case. So after you're done, you can resume playing and check out the Band 9 answer to the question. We're not going to be writing notes or doing any rehearsals. We'll just go straight ahead and check out the Band 9 answer. Bam, here we are. The guy named Howard is giving his response. Okay, this is a nice topic to talk about. There's a restaurant just around the corner from where I live. It's an Italian restaurant, so as you'd expect, you can eat various pasta dishes and pizzas. And I usually go there with my family for a slap-up meal if we have anything to celebrate. It's quite a posh restaurant. The kind of place you would like to take someone if you wanted to wine and dine these people. We usually order a 3-course meal, a light starter, then a main dish, and I have quite a sweet tooth. so I always look forward to the dessert. I usually order tiramisu. It makes my mouth water just to think about it. I'm always totally full up by the end. Why I enjoy it there? Well, it's not cheap. My parents always foot the bill, and we couldn't afford to go there regularly, so it's always a nice treat. Alright, now I understand why this guy is so happy to go there, because he's not the one who pays the bills. Now we know that. So, it was a very good answer and quite interesting vocabulary, such as to wine and dine them, like the people who go to the restaurant with you, slap up meal, full up, makes my mouth water. That's something really, really cool. Of course, we're going to discuss every single expression in detail in the end of the video lesson. And now, we're moving on to the part 3. Part 3 style questions. Question number 1. How can we encourage people to eat more healthily? Oh, that's an eternal question. Anna is giving her answer. I think the best approach is to have everything in moderation. Processed food won't kill you if you only eat it occasionally. But people should also be encouraged to eat a balanced diet. Try to cook fresh ingredients at home a few times a week. Good advice, Anna. Thank you. Do you think people enjoy their food as much as they should? Flory is giving her response. I don't know really. I suppose it's true that people will often eat a quick snack because they're bored, not because they're dying of hunger. And often they just bolt it down and don't savor it. So yeah, perhaps we could take more time over our food. Alright, we understood that. And the final question. Do you think cooking is a pleasure or a chore for people who have busy lives? Amazing question, my friends. Julie is giving her response. Well, whether you follow a recipe or make something up as you go along, I think cooking is a very creative process. And cooking for other people is a particular pleasure. There is nothing more satisfying than seeing people you love tucking into something you've cooked yourself. Yeah, I think it's indeed a pleasure, especially like for your professional cook's ego. Okay, so I guess we're done with the questions and the answers, and now we shall check out the vocabulary for this amazing topic. Okay, here we are. To be full up means to eat to the point that you can no longer eat anymore. So it's like you are no more hungry. To be starving hungry means, well, actually it's an exaggerated way of saying you are very hungry. It's something like, I wouldn't call it as a slang, but that's like a very emotional way to say that you're hungry. To bolt something down, it means to eat something very quickly. Okay. To be dying of hunger, that's an exaggerated, again, way of saying you're hungry. Like, oh, I'm dying of hunger. I'm starving. It's like a very normal thing. To eat a balanced diet would be to eat the correct types and amounts of food. To eat like a horse, well, to eat a lot. Okay, that's kind of like a collocation. To follow a recipe means to cook a meal using instructions. Like you have the algorithm, like you have to turn on the stove and, like put some oil on the frying pan and look at this thing. Well, I'm kidding. It has to be much more sophisticated than turn on the stove and, put on the frying pan. Okay, so to foot the bill means to pay the bill, right? A person who is a fussy eater, that's somebody who has their own very high standards about what to eat. Okay. To grab a bite to eat, that stands for to eat something quickly when you are in a rush. Okay. To have a sweet tooth, well, I used to have a sweet tooth, but I don't anymore. Means to enjoy sugary food, maybe chocolate, something like that. Home cooked food, that would be the food cooked at home from individual ingredients. Now we go to the next slide and we have the main meal. I've heard another one like the main course. That was the second expression that I also heard, which would resemble the meaning of this one. Means the most important meal of the day, usually eaten in the evening. However, I do believe that Here in Russia, we say the most important meal of the day is breakfast. But for some people, apparently, dinner has to be the most important meal. Okay. To make your mouth water means like to make you feel very hungry for something. It's like, you know, when you experience the feeling of hunger, your mouth becomes full of saliva, which is like a signal of showing that your stomach is, you know, ready to consume food. Okay. So to play with your food means to push food around the plate to avoid eating it. You know, like you're like fiddling with the food, doing something like that. It reminds me of when I was very little, I did the same thing. I actually used to play with the food and make it look like I've eaten something. I would collect it and probably make a little, you know, like a pile to free out some space on the plate, so my mom would think that I have eaten certain amount of what she had cooked, and she would, you know, praise me and say, okay, you are like off to go, so you can, like, you know, leave the table and go and run and play and stuff. Well, she of course cracked my code, and I had to eat everything. All right, so processed food, commercially prepared food bought for convenience. A quick snack, it would be like to eat a small amount of food between meals. A ready meal, well, this is the same as a processed food. A slap-up meal would be a large meal, all right, something big, a slap-up meal. To spoil your appetite, well, to eat something that will stop you feeling hungry when it's a meal time, you know, for example, like when you want to eat something and you eat, I don't know, something that has a very, very vivid taste, like a chocolate or something like that, and you like eat it up and you feel, nah, I don't want to eat anymore, something like that. Takeaway is a very popular thing, especially where I live. It's like you order the food and you don't like eat it at the place where you ordered it. You just like they wrap it up in some certain, like, you know, like a plastic bag or a paper bag, and you get it, you know, eat it at home. A cooked meal prepared in a restaurant and eaten at home. To tuck into, it's like, you know, to stick your head into the plate, to eat something with pleasure, okay? To wine and dine, to entertain someone by treating them to food and drink. To work up an appetite stands for to do physical work that leads you to, you know, start feeling hunger, all right? Well, my friends, this is it. This is the end of the lesson about food. Amazing topic, I gotta tell you. Whoa, I think I began feeling hungry a little bit. I hope you're not feeling hungry at all, and I hope it's not, you know, like late night in your area when you're watching my video lesson. So thank you so much for staying with me, my friends. It was a pleasure to be with you, and I will be very happy to see you in the upcoming video lessons. We have some topics left, and it will be really fun and nice to see you guys again in the next lesson. And I'd like to wish you the best of the best with your preparation for the IELTS and just with the general improving of your English language skills. Well, see you in the next videos. Bye.